like that there is a trend right now for doing sci-fi properly, and this is one of them. Yay! Project Hail Mary. I'm sure everybody already knows that this is a good movie, so I don't have to tell you that, because you've probably seen like 50 other YouTubers say this jolly same thing. Yes, this is a good movie. That said, it is also a good movie all around. It is not just a good science fiction movie, which it definitely is, but it's also a movie you can take anybody to, because it doesn't exclude anybody by going... Yes, it is a sci-fi plot, but they explain most of the things. I mean, they start with a teacher in a 7th grade high school explaining some of the fundamental things about science, about gravity and stuff like that. Just these words are mentioned, so you know, oh, we're talking about that sort of thing. And then we get the phenomenon on which the story is based, and he explains the phenomenon. So you don't have to know it beforehand. You just have to know, oh, sometimes there's a phenomenon, and here is one. And that's the story. This movie is so smart in that way. It gives you all the tools you need to understand it. It is about humans, which is good sci-fi, is about humans reacting to an interesting situation. That's exactly what this is. It's humans reacting to an interesting situation. And then what happens? There's your plot. Simple as that. And then what you need to put in is enough talent in acting, writing, for writing the actual script, and also enough energy into putting the vision on the page, because it is from a book, putting the vision on the page, on the screen, faithfully. And they did their level best, I think so. They had the writer there the entire time to, if they had a question about the other species, the alien species, question, hey, this is not quite clear in the book, which direction should we go, because we have to visualize it, there would be an answer. Great, because the book is quite new. It's from 2021, so brand spanking new. The guy is there, he's on set, and they're willing to ask him. There is enough money to do whatever that needs to be done and make it really spiffy, because there was one moment where there is a tunnel from spaceship A to spaceship B, and it's an alien tunnel, and they wanted to do a beautiful lighting effect. And I was listening to these directors talking about how they did it. They did a lighting effect because they wanted it, because it is spinning in space all the time, so light is always spinning. They wanted to do that, so they had an entire light rig spin around the tunnel in which the Ryan Gosling and the puppets were being. My God. They said they took so much electricity from the electricity net that they had all the electricity for the entire studio for when they were filming. And it looks so good. This movie, I advise you to go see it in the IMAX or the 3D or something like that. I watch 2D. I'm a 2D girl, but this is one of those where I would go, yeah, this is one you want to see in IMAX. Absolutely. It's the vistas of when he does his spacewalk. He does a couple of times he goes on a spacewalk. It's awesome. Oh my God, awesome. Yeah. So there were two things I didn't like about this movie. Hey, it's only two things, but it's two things. One is right in the middle, there is a moment. And you notice almost immediately when they start doing a strobe effect, and they keep it up for quite a long time. And I strobe effects and me no. And it was one of those slower strobes. It wasn't a fast strobe. It was a slower one. No. Okay. Yeah. No. Please don't. That's pretty much the only thing that physically was an issue with the thing. There is a story issue, which I will go into the spoiler section. I will talk about the story problem. But this movie, the Ryan Gosling, who played the main character, who's on screen the entire time. My God, this guy is doing so much. He's also co-producing. He's on this thing so much, and I think that helps the project becoming, because it is a story of the character of Grace and meeting this alien, and how do they get on. That's your story, and the alien is a puppet. So basically Ryan is doing a lot. The puppeteer is also doing a lot. I'm not discounting that at all. The puppeteer is doing a lot. And Ryan needs the puppeteer to do a lot. So he has stuff to work off. But Ryan is doing so much here. And that makes the movie. With all the other elements. Because there is a list of other people who are in it. And they are supporting cast, but they're very important supporting cast, setting up the character of Ryland Grace. That is a beef I have with this movie and some other American things, is the naming. Ryland, and then his last name is Grace, and then people keep calling him Grace because everybody's going by last name. But Grace usually is a female name, and I've never heard it as a last name, but okay, if you gotta. Then he meets this alien. This alien has a very pretty name in its own language, but our whale song is not really very good, so he gives him a nickname. The creature looks like a rock, so he calls him Rocky. Fair. It's a little bit okay. After the movie. And then kind of, he does say it, but then it turns out that Rocky does have a mate somewhere. The mate is not anywhere near, but, and so Grace wants to give, the mate also has a beautiful name in whale song, which Grace can't say, so we have to give the mate a name, and he names the mate Adrian. And now you have to dig in. I mean, the peanut gallery is going, huh? Because Adrian is the girl that Rocky had in the movie. And Rocky Balboa had in the movie. His girl's name is Adrian, which is a weird name because that's a boy's name. For most people in the world, that's a boy's name. In the Netherlands, actually the name is not Adrian at all. It's Adrienne, and then it's a girl's name. But Adrian is not anything. So we have the main character, male, whose name is Grace. The alien, whose name is Rocky. Whose mate, his name is Adrian, and then they run into a new planet, and they said, well, we have to name the planet, and they named the planet Adrian. The naming, no, I'm sorry, the naming. The Americans and names are an enigma to me. I'm sorry. Yeah. Ryland Grace, the character, is a failed scientist. His ideas are really good, but the way he presents them into the world are so clunky that scientific community has spit him out, and he's teaching at a high school. Because and that girl that he had, he does talk about Rocky about the girl later, and he must have been so insipid, so lackluster that she dropped him. I think the writer of the original book, like I said, the really recent book, wrote a story about a guy who was a bit of a loser and made good. I think that's a very trite storyline, and I think you could actually do more with the story as is, and I think we're going to come. Let me first, before we get to the spoiler bits, this movie is wonderful. Go watch it. This movie of the year, absolutely. Doesn't mean I don't know no little issues, and we'll come to that to the spoiler section. So spoilers. Ryland is picked up by the International Agency of blah blah for problem with the sun. Sun is being eaten by bacteria. Oh no, we need some help because that is very inconvenient for us if we lose the sun because very cold in space. We also very dead. I do think that because they do a proper prediction of what would happen if this bacteria keeps eating the sun, and I think they are underestimating and how bad it will be. Because we will be dead in so soon, so quickly. Extinction of everything. So, but I think maybe they don't want to scare everybody too much. Half the people dead is I think as far as they're willing to go. Yeah.
No, everybody did.
Everybody did. So there's good reason to actually do this mission. Now the issue I have with the mission altogether is they're training up a bunch of people and they're planning to send a crew of 3. Okay. And then when the events in the film are kind of presented in 2 sets of sequences. The now where Ryland Grace is on the ship and trying to figure out what happened because he's concussed from the cold sleep, and then flashbacks as he remembers stuff that happened. But the flashbacks are in order all the way to the moment he lifted off. So 2 sets of timelines we're following. And in the timeline where we find out where they're setting up the project, they're figuring out what the problem is and they're setting up the project. And there is this agency that is going to do that international cooperative between, it's not quite clear, but there is a Chinese scientist there, there's a Russian scientist there, there's an American scientist, and there's Ryland, of course. And the controller is German. In the book, she was actually Dutch, but that's I will come to that in a second. So it's very interesting. They figure out what the bacteria is, how to combat it possibly, or how to find a way to combat it. And the answer to that is all the way over there, Tau Ceti, 12 light years that way, is a planet that is not showing the same problems that all the other planets that are being infested by this bacteria is having. What is going on there? Go take a look. 12 light years from here. So, we have to have a station. They must have had a spaceship ready to go. But get a crew. Get them ready. Get them enough cold sleep that they can go there. Get them enough supplies in space for them to do whatever. How are they going to get back? Well, the idea is they should figure out what the problem is over there, give us the answer, ship the answer into a pod, and yeah. That doesn't sound like a very good idea, does it? However, staying here and watching for the end to happen, also very bad idea. Now, here's, I think, where the problem happened. They had like a crew. They had a crew ready, and then there's a big bang, and some of the people that should have been on that crew are now suddenly dead. Somebody did something stupid with something happened, and all of a sudden, the only people who are left are the two that are left and Ryland. Because they don't have anybody else left to send, and they say to Ryland, yeah, you should go. And he says, ah, he says, oh, no, because he was always a screw up. He was too cowardly for everything. And so he says, hell no. And here's, I think, what the mistake they made in this story is the controller just says hell yes and has him grabbed by his arms and just put into the comatose machine and sent off. And I think that's a mistake. I think by doing that you take away his agency. Yes, what he's being asked to do something he doesn't want to do. A lot of people are being asked to do things they don't want to do, but they do them anyway. Give the guy some time to think about it. Give the guy the time to throw a chair at the wall. Give the guy time to scream at you for an hour. You have the 24 hours to do that. Give the guy a chance to come together with the fact that this really needs to happen. Because sometimes things just need to happen. The problem by sending him into space like this and then he wakes up, if he had woken up with the crew, with the other two in the crew, there would have been a fight. He was there against his will. He would have been hella mad. How would that have worked? As it is, that's not what happened because he wakes up and the other two are dead. And he's all alone. And that's my second mistake they make, or second, third, or fourth, I don't know, mistake that this mission is made. You're going to send a rocket that far for 12 years. It was traveling for 12 years to do something extremely important that is time sensitive because sun is still being munched on all that time. I mean, that doesn't go away. It's munchy. You sent them off with one pilot, one scientist, and one engineer. And two of these are suddenly dead. Why didn't you send 9 people? And if a couple of them die, then you have a chance. The redundancy. The redundancy is who did the redundancy calculations on this thing? Nobody. You just make sure that you have the other scientists all in the cold sleep, all stalled away so they don't eat anything. And then if it turns out that hey, we have no scientists left out of the first batch, we defrost another scientist. You know. And while Ryland Grace has some really good ideas, he had a beautiful, unique idea that was pretty new. You don't have to send the Einstein for this sort of mission. You have to send somebody who's resourceful and adaptable. And you can send 9 people who are resourceful and adaptable, 3 of which are scientists, 3 of which are pilots, and 3 of which are engineers. And in the hope that of these, at least one of each makes it to the nebula, to Tau Ceti, to do the researching. And I'm being very critical. Let me tell you, I am being very critical of this. I think this is a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. But there are a couple of things that I was going, yeah. Next time we need to do it. One more. Other things like, and that's film does this a lot, is that they have an idea and then they do the normal thing with the idea. So this alien, Rocky, his species are from Eridani, and who very interesting. Eridani is actually Tau Ceti is already a star. You can actually see that Tau Ceti on a clear day. You can see it if you know where to look. Eridani, you need you need a telescope for it, but it can be seen from Earth, and it's the system where reputedly Spock came from. It is the Vulcan system. So it's a great system to have stuff come from. So Rocky comes from Vulcan's planet. And the planet is very, very hot. And methane atmosphere. So Rocky and Grace cannot coexist in the same atmosphere. And they find a solution for it. Because Rocky is actually from a species that is very good at engineering. They are so much further with engineering than we are. So much further. What they are behind on is biological and chemical knowledge. Rocky knew nothing about radiation. His planet doesn't have it. His planet has an atmosphere so thick, nothing gets through. Not even light. They don't have any eyes because no light. So they do everything by echolocation. And then now the film makes a mistake because yes, echolocation, and they do visualize it pretty nicely, but then there's a moment where Ryland is feeling a little nostalgic, and he has a video of Earth playing on his 360 TV. He has a TV that is everywhere, and he shows it to Rocky, but Rocky can't. That doesn't mean anything because they're flat. The flat surfaces of the TV screen is not going to do anything for Rocky, because that's what echolocation does. It just echoes the sound to the and comes back. It cannot show a picture like that. So maybe Rocky was just there for the vibes. I do believe that you could have done the same thing for Rocky, but then with sounds, because he's very susceptible to sounds. Their language is like a whale song. Everything is a song. So sounds and music would have been really interesting to Rocky, I think. But they skipped that, which is okay. The film very expertly shows that even though Rocky, made of rocks, has no eyes, has 5 legs, well, 2 arms and 3 legs, which are interchangeable. He can starfish around any which way he likes. He has an atmosphere that we can't live in. He has needs we don't have, and still they make him so recognizable in the way enough that we get a connection between Grace and Rocky make a connection, and we can see that this is and that is what makes a movie like this, is the interpersonal connection between the two species. And I think that's wonderful. Yeah, the trick is to see what they have in common. The giving Rocky a mate, I think, is very binary of us. It turns out these Rocky creatures are not binary at all. They are gender non-gendered species. In the book, there's more about that, but I think they put enough in the movie to give you a feel that the Eridani species is very different from us, but we could get along with them very easily. And in the end, both their species and our species have the same problem, and we're looking for a solution for the same problem. And between them, they do. And I'm not going to spoil the movie any more than that. Enjoy this movie very much. It is so gorgeous. Like all these movies nowadays, these movies are almost always so gorgeous, and this one is definitely so gorgeous. I think we have the movie of the year, and that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.